what is the? There is no word in Spanish for thick. Like, ¿cuál es la palabra para thick en español?
Gruesa.
No hay.
Gruesa.
Gruesa, gruesa.
Gruesa.
Oh,
Gruesa. Uh-huh.
but that's like
Gruesa. It's
gruesa.
grosor. It's
Yeah,
gruesa.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds too
Gruesa.
rude.
It
But
sounds more
you have
neat.
to. It sounds rude, but it's the same that they call me negra. My mom called me negra since I was born.
Pero eso es cariño. That's like
It's
a
normal but for us it's normal. So that's why it never made me feel bad. But in reality, in the back of my head, I thought I was fat, and I wasn't. I was 115 pounds. So no, I was probably 115 pounds until I was like 24 years old. So no, and you grow up with that thinking that just because you are thicker than normal, you are considered bigger, of course. And I think that's also what happened with Black women, that just because they thick, some other cultures does not look as being fit or healthy.
I guess we could talk about colorism at this point, maybe. White people, I didn't know what that was, honestly. Maybe that seems crazy until I was about 22. Like, this whole thing about colorism, and it seems like the Black people, they make fun of each other for the color, but like as a white man, we like looking at a Black woman. It's fine, dark. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're right on there with that trigger, Mike. Anyways, I don't want to delve too deep, but thank you for letting me say that.
So you're saying other races is, if you're Black, they don't see the dark skin versus light skin. They just see a Black woman. One is not more attractive than the other.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Or maybe they even prefer the dark. Honestly,
different.
I don't know what it is. Sure, maybe forbidden fruit, different. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Well, so I looked up the most desirable races physically, because we're going to talk about different levels of desirability.
I want to add something maybe when you finish your question, because there's something about this whole thing that they're talking about.
You have something else? Go ahead.
Am I in trouble? Did I go too far?
No.
Okay, good.
It's just, remember, this is just a different point of view. When somebody spoke about Black women being at the bottom when it comes to looks, and you said it was just an app, that is not true in the world. I tend to disagree with that just because of something. I can already feel the red laser dots already pointing at me right now to shoot me, but just wait a minute before you pull the trigger. The thing is, in every race, the darker women are less preferred, and that is a beauty standard mostly made by women, I believe. But the darker skinned women are less preferred in pretty much every race, especially Asian, Indian. You see, that's where there's bleaching creams all over, because women want to be lighter, because for some reason, it could be the human brain. Well, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, people tend to associate women being lighter skinned with being more feminine looking. And it doesn't make it true, but that is another thing. And the other issue that I have heard of is hair. Now, the reason I say hair is because if you see like the most preferred look, it's typically, not always, but typically a woman with long flowing hair, long flowing locks. And unfortunately, a lot of Black women, they call it rooting, right? Where the man will take the woman's head and put their hand like this and go through, when they want to touch their woman, put their hand through their hair. And I've seen that a lot of that was kind of the issue with Black women, where they feel that they can't do that. It's a level of intimacy that is missing because they can't root them. They can't just grab their hair and run their fingers through it. And also because of the texture of some Black women's hair, not all, sometimes it coils up, so you can't see how long it is. Maybe she does have long flowing locks, but you can't tell because it's coiled. So that could be another reason why Black women are less preferred, because of the lack of that look.
I don't think you should shy away from saying it, especially on this platform. We down to have the real conversation.
I
always.
want to say
Now,
something.
I thought let me before I because the thought is going to escape me. Let me just get this one out. So I thought I covered it by saying Eurocentric standard of beauty because what I want to, well, in if you look at black people up close, and I was speaking about this with a group of fathers before. Um, the Eurocentric standard of beauty was actually brought about by Hollywood. If it wasn't for TV, social media, and all these other things, we wouldn't have in VHS and DVD, we wouldn't have ways to understand the world over how deep this Eurocentric standard of beauty thing is. And I hate that term, by the way, but the one place it does apply and it is 100% true is Hollywood. All right. And Hollywood, as great as it is, was created by white people. So whenever they wanted to sell something or sell an image, they use the image closest to white for every ethnic group. Even in Mexico, they want white Mexicans, right? They don't want the dark ones, right? So if they're shooting a movie, they made Egyptians white.
They did.
They whitewash everything in Hollywood. So let's say for black women, they made it so the what do we call it, mulatto, the ones that are mixed, maybe have straight hair, they want that to be the representation of black. But that's why I said Hollywood gave that image out there, which of course makes people envious and want to look like that. And I believe that's where you get the skin bleaching from and all of that. People are trying to look like the stars that are portrayed as the beautiful versions of their ethnic group. Now, that's Hollywood. Go down to the ground floor. Get down here on the street. I promise you, I will bet 1 month of Lapeef's salary on it. Okay? There are more dark-skinned black women that are married than light-skinned black women. I promise you, on God. When you just look for yourself, that Eurocentric standard of beauty doesn't make it down to street level. It doesn't.
No,
I
you're right.
promise you.
That's true. My brother even said,
So
he said,
what
you see a
men
nice.
actually choose versus what Hollywood is portraying out to the world is completely different. If I've ever met a woman still waiting on her husband, blah blah, just go look at them in church. They all light. I'm telling you, I don't have a statistic to prove this. It'd be a terrible statistic to take, but the darker, like men actually prefer. It's weird. So when it comes to who they marry, who they want to put rings on, it's the Angela Bassett's. It's always the darker variety of women. I've even met light-skinned women that say, I actually want to be darker. It makes me feel more black. Right? So what's happening in Hollywood and what's happening in street level are two completely different things. And I believe that's the world over. You go to Nigeria, my mom is probably one of the only light-skinned Nigerians you'll ever meet in your life. I don't know how that happened. But other than her, it's the darker variety. Again, that's married. It's weird.
My brother, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
My brother did say that. He's like, I look for dark-skinned girls. He said, but you always find one and they're scooped up so quick. And I was like, really? I didn't know until he told me that that's what he looks for. He said, you find a sweet, beautiful, dark-skinned girl, she has a boyfriend. So
No,
I wanted
so
to say something. Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So, not from a race point of view, but more like a personal thing again. I think men are always looking for a fit woman, just like how do you pronounce it?
Barnabas.
Barnabas. Okay, so how you say, and I think it's more like, and it's understandable because biologically we want to be with someone that is more fit or healthy looking, more like not fit or shredded. It's just more healthy looking. So when I was little, I was 13 years old, and I remember my in school people would call me gordita. I was called gordita, and I was 13 years old. So gordita means fatty, and I wasn't a fatty. I just practiced soccer, so I had thick legs, and the thickness was always kind of like confused with fatness, and it is not. It wasn't. So I went all the way to high school with that nickname of fatty. It didn't cost me anything. I didn't care at the moment, but in reality, when I was growing up, I was thinking that I was fat, and I was
But
150.
wait,
I was
Saida,
one.
what is the? There is no word in Spanish for thick. Like, ¿cuál es la palabra para thick en español?
Gruesa.
No hay.
Gruesa.
Gruesa? Gruesa?
Gruesa.
Oh,
Gruesa. Uh-huh.
but that's like
Gruesa. It's
medium rare.
grosor. It's gruesa.
Yeah,
It sounds
gruesa.
too rude.
It
But
sounds
you
more
have
neat.
to. It sounds rude, but it's the same that they call me negra. My mom called me negra since I was born.
Pero eso es cariño. That's like
It's
a
normal but for us it's normal. So that's why it never made me feel bad. But in reality, in the back of my head, I thought I was fat, and I wasn't. I was 115 pounds. So no, I was probably 115 pounds until I was like 24 years old. So no, and you grow up with that thinking that just because you are thicker than normal, you are considered bigger, of course. And I think that's also what happened with Black women, that just because they thick, some other cultures does not look as being fit or healthy. So that's probably one of the reasons why, as you were saying. But in reality, it's more like what you like. If you ask Koreans or Asian people, anywhere, other people in the world, Russians, they might be thinking that someone similar to them because they have only been exposed to people like them. But if they look around and just explore the world, like if we all had the opportunity to do that, I think we will all be mixed. We will be like making a whole mixing.
One day.
And it's gonna get to that point.
Just real quick, Saida. Did Black guys, when they come to your country, do they holler?
Of course they do. I'm sure every race hollers. She's beautiful.
No, she said she's thick, so I'm like, well,
I'm not saying that.
I have to.
Also, I'm sorry.
I said I practice sports.
This was actually my point. This is the point I wanted to make. Do you know what a gordita is in the U.S.? It's a bomb ass taco.
Oh no!